Come here. You're bothering me. Come here. You're a safety issue now.
How am I safe?
Come here. Stand up.
I'm not doing anything.
For the second video in a row, one of my videos has made the local TV news on the other side of the country. That's 2 videos in a row.
Officers forced their way into their home to arrest a man who was just there visiting.
This officer just kicked open the door. Where's your warrant? So the door got kicked in. I mean, the door does not shut at all.
And it's gotten a lot of attention on social media after the family shared the video of the incident with a civil rights attorney.
The basic rule is that an arrest warrant alone does not allow the police to enter a third party's home to execute that arrest warrant. In case you didn't see it, this was the video I posted like 2 videos ago, showing police officers in Idaho Falls, Idaho, storming into this house without a warrant.
Show me the paper warrant.
I don't need a paper warrant. Do you want to be detained? Do I need to come in there and arrest you in front of your kids?
Then the police department responded. They issued a statement to the media. The local media provided it to me.
IFPD are defending both the search and arrest. That statement also says that there is established case law that lays out when officers can enter a private residence with a warrant and without a warrant. I am not able to go into detailed explanation of that case law and how it applies to this scenario at this time.
Apparently, they want to argue with me about constitutional case law. Let's go through it. You know, fighting for justice often means that I'm on the move, and recently I had a bit of an issue while traveling. I'm out in the middle of nowhere, my phone's data roaming is off the charts expensive, and there's no Wi-Fi in sight when I needed to make an urgent call about a case. After that, I started using Saily, the new eSIM service by Nord Security. On the next trip, I decided to give Saily a try, and I'm glad that I did. Setting it up was a breeze, no more fumbling around with tiny SIM cards or worrying about losing them. I just downloaded the app, chose a plan that fit my travel needs, and within minutes, I was connected. With Saily, you get instant connectivity. No waiting for a SIM card to arrive or standing in line at the airport. You scan a QR code and boom, you're online. And the best part, you keep your number for regular calls while using Saily for data. I love Saily because it's cost effective, gives you high-speed data, and you can use it anywhere in the world. Plus, it's perfect for those of us who value privacy and security thanks to Nord's security expertise. Now, for my audience, I got you a special deal. Get an exclusive 15% discount on Saily eSIM data plans. Download the Saily app on your phone and use code CIVIL at checkout. Actually, here's the best way. Just scan the code on your screen right now and get started right away. So next time you're traveling or you just need a hassle-free internet solution, remember Saily. Don't get caught like I did. Be prepared, stay connected, and keep fighting the good fight. Safe travels, and let's get back to the video. As the news reported, Kyle Adams was just sitting at home with his 2 kids and his girlfriend. All of a sudden, cops kicked the door in. None of them had done anything wrong. They were looking for Kyle's girlfriend's brother. There was no warrant against them in any way. The cops couldn't just do this, could they?
I was standing right here, filming it all.
Things quickly escalated when 2 Idaho Falls police officers entered the rented home where Kyle Adams lives with his girlfriend and 2 children.
Where's your warrant? Where's your warrant? Oh, whoa.
Police were looking for a felony suspect named Jericho Graham and had a warrant for his arrest. They showed up at Kyle's front door because their suspect is related to Kyle's girlfriend.
Kyle? Jericho! Kyle, come to the sound of my voice!
According to police, officers knocked and saw the suspect inside once the door was open. Then they forced their way inside.
So the door got kicked in. I mean, the door does not shut at all.
For reference, here's the actual video that Kyle filmed. It's not very long. I also interviewed Kyle. If you want to watch that, I will link below the interview that I did with Kyle in the prior video.
They had ARs. He pulled his gun out on me in front of my kids. Ugh.
But just to recap, here's what happened. This is the very beginning of the video. Then when it fumbles around, that's the very end. That's it.
You're under arrest. That's not Jericho.
I'm not Jericho. This officer just kicked open the door.
And she had the opportunity to open and she refused.
No, that's not. Where's your warrant? Where's your warrant? Oh, whoa.
Get him
Where is your paper warrant, officer?
I don't need it. Hey, you know what?
You don't need it?
Detained. Come here.
I'm being detained?
Tried to be reasonable. Yeah, come here.
My kids are right here. No, that's not how this works in real life. And I'm staying out of the way. My hands are up.
Thank you, then sit down and be
Yep.
quiet.
I'm recording this whole thing though.
Okay? He has a warrant for felony.
It doesn't matter. Where's your paper?
Come here right now. Do I need to come in there and arrest you in front of your kids?
Hold on, please don't.
Come out here.
Show me the paper warrant.
Stop.
I don't
This is
need
where
a
I
paper
write
warrant.
please.
He has a warrant, felon in possession of a firearm, which is why my gun was out.
I promise. We just got.
Do you want to be detained?
Don't do this, please.
Okay? Knock it off.
Please, Kyle.
Jericho!
Kyle,
Come to the sound of my voice! I need you guys out of here because he's dangerous. I'm going to come in and get you.
He is not dangerous.
No weapons, I promise.
I'm going to come and get you in a second unless you come to me right
I
now.
promise. There's kids here. They're right.
I know my laws, sir.
Yeah, do you?
Kyle.
Because there's a felon in here with a warrant.
Kyle, are the kids right
Okay.
here?
You're gonna detain me
Kyle.
I am going
for
to.
holding next to my kids.
No, I'm not.
I'm not stopping you from what you're doing, but I know you can't step foot in here without a warrant, a paper warrant.
Jericho!
I'm recording this all.
Yeah, so are we, dude.
Yep. Yep.
Come here. You're bothering me. Come here. You're a safety issue now.
How am I saying?
Come here. You stand up.
I'm not doing anything.
Then several Idaho media outlets, including this TV news station, picked up the story and began doing interviews and also interviewed me.
An Idaho Falls family is questioning police protocol after officers forced their way into their home to arrest a man who was just there visiting. That all happened the evening of November 3rd, and it's gotten a lot of attention on social media after the family shared the video of the incident with a civil rights attorney.
Kyle says the damage to the door is minor compared to what he describes as his children's broken trust in law enforcement.
They're traumatized. I mean, I just got them this last weekend, and every night they wanted me to sleep with them. They just, the fear of that door getting kicked in when they're with me here.
Now, Kyle is considering his legal options. He's taking his story to an out-of-state attorney to learn more about his potential legal options.
It has been hard trying to find someone to help me out with this case, but I'm going to stick to my guns because I know what they did was wrong, and I will take every legal action needed for these guys.
The basic rule is that an arrest warrant alone does not allow the police to enter a third party's home to execute that arrest warrant.
Tonight, IFPD are defending both the search and arrest. That statement also says that there is established case law that lays out when officers can enter a private residence with a warrant and without a warrant.
Oh, the clearly established case law says that you didn't do anything wrong? Why didn't you say that sooner? We could have saved a lot of time here. If you don't mind, just cite that so that I can verify that and be on my way.
I am not able to go into detailed explanation of that case law and how it applies to this scenario at this time.
So you're saying that there's clearly established case law, but you won't tell us what it is? Well, fortunately for you, I've already gone through the clearly established case law. I'll help them out. But first, let me show you their actual full statement. Here it is. Idaho Falls Police statement on November 3rd, 2024 incident. The Idaho Falls Police Department is aware of a video circulating that shows an interaction between a homeowner and one of our police officers that occurred on November 3rd. We recognize that the interaction has caused concern for many who have seen the video and share in that concern. So they agree with you that what the video shows is not good. It shows constitutional rights being violated, right? Let's continue. Idaho Falls police officers were searching for a man with a felony warrant and had information that the wanted person was visiting a residence in Idaho Falls. Let's stop there for 1 second. The fact that they admit in their statement that the subject of the arrest warrant that this is all about was known by them to be only visiting that residence is very important. I'll come back to that. When officers knocked on the door, a woman answered and came outside to speak with the officers. Before the woman closed the door, the officer saw the wanted man inside the house. The officer forced the door open, then engaged in a verbal argument with a second man, later identified as the homeowner. And here they also admit that there was no consent to enter the house to arrest the subject of the arrest warrant, who was just visiting. That's important. We'll come back to that. After a short time, officers entered the house and removed the homeowner. So basically there they just skip over the entire video that this statement is about. Yeah, they broke the door. They came in saying they didn't need a warrant. over the objections of the homeowner. Officers worked with the woman to remove 2 children from the home who waited in an Idaho Falls Police patrol cruiser during the rest of the incident. What they left out there was that the person they identified as the homeowner, the man, he wasn't put in the patrol car. He was left outside in handcuffs in the cold. Officers were then able to call to the wanted person inside the home who surrendered and was taken into custody on his warrant. The homeowner, woman, and children returned to the residence shortly thereafter. Well, that was nice of them to allow them to return to their own home. At the Idaho Falls Police Department, we regularly review incidents to ensure our officers are acting within established law and policy, and that the training they receive is thorough and correct. This incident was reviewed shortly after it occurred, and department leadership immediately took steps to address the situation. We are ensuring that thorough understanding of what occurred in this incident is documented and evaluating where we can and should improve. IFPD leadership reached out to the homeowner involved several days ago. He has chosen not to speak with us at this time, and we respect his decision not to do so. Well, according to the homeowner, you busted in his front door and have refused to pay for it. The Idaho Falls Police Department believes in and supports the Constitution and is committed to upholding the rights guaranteed within it. And by that, they mean they do not believe in and support the Constitution.
Show me the paper warrant.
I don't need a paper warrant. Do you want to be detained? Do I need to come in there and arrest you in front of your kids?
They are not committed to upholding the rights guaranteed within it. And I'll explain why. We are committed to demonstrating integrity by acknowledging when mistakes are made and taking corrective action. And after 4 paragraphs, we have failed to do that, sadly. We are committed to excellence by always striving to ensure our officers have the highest level of training and conduct themselves at the high standard we and our community expect of them.
Yep. Come here. You're bothering me. Come here. You're a safety issue now.
How am I saying?
Come here. Stand up. I'm not doing anything.
We are committed to building trust between the department and the community and thank our community for their support as we work to do so.
So the door got kicked in. The door does not shut at all.
You know, like we have to say to our kids sometimes, you can say whatever you want. Show me with your actions. I don't really care what your words are. And you know what your actions were? You busted in the front door of this innocent family, and you've refused to even fix it or to pay for it. Exactly how does that build trust between your department and this community? Now let's discuss the clearly established case law. Even though the Idaho Falls Police Department did not give you any citations to back up what they're claiming, I'm going to do that for them. By clearly established, that means it's, at least pretty old, long before the incident took place. So I have a case that is very, very close to this one from the 9th Circuit, and that's what's relevant here because Idaho is within the 9th Federal Circuit. So other than U.S. Supreme Court opinions, such as the one that's on point here, Stigald versus United States from 1981, we would look to the 9th Circuit for clearly established case law. And lo and behold, here's a case from 1989, Perez versus Simmons. And that's important because that was a civil lawsuit, not a criminal case, such as could happen here. In that case, plaintiff Irma Perez brought a Section 1983 action, a civil rights lawsuit, against the city of Santa Barbara and certain police officers alleging that the officers violated her constitutional rights by entering her house unlawfully in search of her brother. Sound familiar? Irma Perez opened the door and stated that her brother Albert was not there, did not live there, and had never lived there. She demanded to see the arrest warrant. When the officers failed to produce it, she refused consent to a search and began closing the door. At that point, detectives Simmons and Miller shoved open the door and all of the officers entered. Sound familiar? And here's what the 9th Circuit said about that. In this case, we're faced with a situation which falls between Stigald and Payton. The officers had an arrest warrant for Albert Perez. They could have legally entered his home to seize him, yet they used it to enter the home of his sister Irma. Sound familiar? And remember where they said that they believed the brother was visiting, not residing at the home? That's why it's relevant. The 9th Circuit continued, if Albert had been an actual co-resident in the apartment, the search would have been legal because the arrest warrant authorizes entry into the suspect's own home, even if that home is shared by others. However, if the officers did not have reasonable grounds, which means probable cause, for believing that Albert resided in that apartment, the search was illegal under Stigald versus United States. the Supreme Court case I talked about in the first video, which is the ultimate of all clearly established case law cases. Ultimately, the Ninth Circuit said that the Fourth Amendment's protections against unreasonable searches in a person's home is not diminished by the mere presence of a guest in the home. The Payton case allows entry into the suspect's actual home to execute an arrest warrant for that suspect. The Supreme Court made it very clear, they said, in the Stiegald case that the Fourth Amendment does not allow entry into a third person's home without a search warrant. So ultimately, unless a jury finds that the brother Albert was an actual co-resident of the apartment and that police had reasonable grounds for believing that the brother was in the apartment at that time, the search was in violation of Irma's constitutional rights, the sister's constitutional rights. The Fourth Amendment right to be secure against warrantless searches within the home is too vital to justify entry without a search warrant to execute an arrest warrant upon a guest in the home, absent exigent circumstances. So how do you like them apples? That is a case directly on point that literally is clearly established case law for the same almost identical fact scenario. By their own statement, Idaho Falls excluded any possibility of victory on this issue. They would have to have probable cause to believe that the brother was actually residing at that home, not just a guest. And they believed that he was just a guest. Therefore, they had to have gotten a search warrant. Now, where they may be confused is, like I said, a lot of these are criminal cases. So in the criminal cases, if the brother is challenging the evidence being used against him and he's filed a motion to suppress, he cannot assert his sister's Fourth Amendment rights to her home. And there are a lot of cases saying that. This may be where they are confused. If Jericho tried to suppress evidence seized against him on the grounds that this was an illegal entry, the courts are very clear that he cannot assert his sister's constitutional rights. But if his sister wanted to file a civil lawsuit, that's an entirely different matter. And that could be the case here. These homeowners are the third parties. They are the ones allowed to assert their own Fourth Amendment rights that no doubt were violated here. So there are only two exceptions to that. One is exigent circumstances and the other is consent. Now, we saw in the video there was no consent, but they also admit in their statement that there was no consent, that they forcibly entered without consent. Honestly, probably their best claim is to try to establish that exigent circumstances existed, that they saw that there was this fugitive in there, they believed him to be dangerous or maybe armed and dangerous, and had to take him into custody without taking the time to get a search warrant. Now, I don't believe that those facts exist here. And if you look at the case law in the Ninth Circuit, they are very, very strict with the exigent circumstances exception. You can look at the case U.S. versus Ray from 1993, where they looked at a very similar scenario and they said, that just wasn't enough. Also, there's the case of Fisher versus City of San Jose, Ninth Circuit 2007, where they discuss where exigent circumstances are claimed, we have required, meaning the Ninth Circuit has required the government either to attempt in good faith to secure a warrant or to present evidence explaining why a telephone warrant was unavailable or impractical. In other words, they have to have tried to get a search warrant, and because it was an emergency situation, either they couldn't get it in time or it wasn't practical. I don't see any basis, even in their own statement, for that to apply here. And the reason why this is so important, if police officers are going to go inside somebody's home, armed, guns drawn, as they were in the process of doing here, what are the chances that a completely innocent third party ends up getting shot? This just happened, I believe, in Las Vegas. This happens all the time. And in fact, if you look at the news from just a couple of years ago, this has basically happened with the Idaho Falls Police Department before. There was a 911 call. Officers arrived on high alert and ended up shooting an innocent homeowner in his own backyard. And that is the danger here, where you have the government coming in, guns drawn, into a home of innocent people. There is a very real danger that something bad is going to happen, completely in the absence of any judge ever evaluating probable cause. That's why it's so important for police departments to follow the rules. And here, they did not follow the rules. It's all there on video. I really would like to see what clearly established case law they are referring to, because I just went through the main cases in the Ninth Circuit. But they actually know that. They know they're wrong. That's why it was such a weak, fluffy statement. So if these are your public servants, don't let up just yet. There's more work to do. Stay on top of them. They need to acknowledge that they screwed up here and that they're not going to do this again. We'll see. If you want to follow along, please subscribe both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.